Do you want to improve at a quicker pace? Check out the GitGud Course. Instead of just understanding concepts, you'll learn how to implement them directly into your driving. What makes it effective is the approach and practical drills. Together, we're gonna focus on breaking down those complex concepts into small digestible bits that are simple to understand. Everything from the course was tested and refined during the years in coaching sessions, so what I ended up with was the ones that I saw were the most effective. Let's elevate your racing skills together. Now for the track guide. Before starting, if you enjoyed this video, giving it a like and a subscribe, it's a free way to support the channel as I can continue to create content like this. Now going into the track guide itself, for turn 1 my reference for braking is the 50-meter board. I want to press the brakes at the 50, so it's quite late on the braking point, and I plan to push the car all the way to the left so I can barely feel the grass when positioning to brake. So there's a bit of space here to the left side of the white line that you can use. It's not much, but it still will make you able to gain like 0.02 into this corner consistently. So try to use as much as you can on entry, and while going into this corner, this is a long corner. As you can see, you can't see like the exit out of the corner right here. You can barely see it on the right side. So my reference for apexing is this end of the wall right here. So I plan to go on throttle, so I'm gonna brake, still brake, still brake, still braking, still on the trail, still on the trail, still braking, up until here where it's the exit, where I barely get to the exit of the wall on the right side. This is the moment where I'm pushing the throttle. So if you will go a bit earlier and you're apexing a bit earlier, go early on power, then you will have to drop the throttle and you will lose time on exit, because I'm going 0-100 and just a small change here. And that was it. So keeping it as close to flat on the exit is gonna be key. Now going into the next sequence of corners, mount this curb and the same thing, feel the grass in the force feedback. So you can use all the track, properly mount this curb, and now when turning into this corner, you want to turn flat out, and keep in mind I'm using the fixed setup here. And a big change is in the brake bias. Instead of using 58%, I'm using 52. So a lot less on the brake bias, so I can get that rotation without overworking the fronts. Now for this sequence of corners, I want to first turn into the corner from this larger radius because we opened up, and turn with 100% throttle, going into the corner still 100%, and I'm pressing the brakes before arriving at the curb right now, but I'm barely braking. As you can see, 7% on the brakes. So it's just a small touch on the brakes in 5th gear, now pushing the throttle again 0-100, because I want the car to get pushed more towards the center, so now I have to work the steering wheel so I can bring it more towards the right center. So don't get into the trap of staying too far on the right side. You will carry such a low speed that even though you will have the perfect ideal line into the corner, just because you're not carrying enough speed, you will still lose time. So go hot into this corner, try to push 0-100 after the brake immediately, and now I'm trying to push the car in a straight line, almost like crashing into this wall. So I'm looking at this wall in front of me, braking but not very hard because I'm also turning at the same time, and you don't want to lock up your inside left tire. And now when turning into the corner like this, you just want to be soft on the brakes. So trail braking with 8% or so, you want to arrive at this white line near the green, and the moment that you arrive at the white line, smash the throttle 0-100. This is gonna give you the superior exit you're looking for, using all this curb. And now we're going into the high speed stuff with the next corner, which is not that easy. You can easily lose 1 or 2 tenths here. So what I'm doing, first of all, exactly like in turn 1 and in the corners which will open up, you want to use as much track as possible, and it's not all the time obvious, because right now, as you can see, there's an exit road here, this concrete road on the left side that we can open up before turning into the corner. So what I'm doing, I'm aligning the car, so like right now at turn in, I have my left tire on this concrete here. And it all starts with a bit of preparation, because at this point in time, if I don't have the car close to the grass, then I will miss it because everything will happen so quickly. So at the 50-meter board, I plan to have my left tire almost kissing the grass, and I will turn a bit left the moment that this grass starts to disappear, but just a slightly bit. It's just like few degrees. You do it in advance because you can cut a bit this grass without getting the off track. And now from this larger radius, we turn with 100% throttle into this corner. In this corner, we won't brake, we won't do a 0% lift, so we won't do it. Instead, we just will find a minimum throttle percentage in which we will do the lift. So for me, it's like 40%, like right now, 38, 34, 35. So I'm dropping the throttle and then picking it back up immediately. And my apex point is close to the beginning of the curve, like right here. This is my apex point, slightly before getting on the curve. Like right now, I'm apexing around this point and I'm just dropping the throttle. It's key to turn with 100% throttle into the corner, so don't drop the throttle before you turn so you can carry the downforce. But then when I'm getting closer to the grass, I'm dropping the throttle more, and then I'm pushing back up. And this is how I approach this high-speed corner. Now for the next one, again, you want to position the car as further left as you can, and you notice here a bit of kink in the white line, like the track goes straight and then it opens up. It goes straight and opens up. So what you want to do is you almost want to place your car here. So you're looking at this point in time, and the moment that I arrive at this point, I just barely touch the brakes, 6%, 7%, downshifting to 5th, and now getting as close as you can with this within this orange anti-curve without touching it, pushing the throttle at the curve, mounting the next curve right here. And the reference for braking here, it's tricky. It's not as straightforward as it is in other corners because there's not much you can use. The only thing you can use is the 50-meter board, and what I'm doing is I'm braking past the 50, but every lap will be slightly different because braking later than 50 is not a precise reference point. So you have to think about this braking zone into this corner more or less like not a braking point, but the braking zone. So you have a zone in which you want to brake, and you have to time it in a way that it's related with the 50. I think that's gonna be like the best advice, even though it's not perfect. So what I'm using here, after the 50, I'm touching the brakes, I'm turning from this larger radius. You can even use a bit more than what I did here by carrying a bit more speed, so this was not perfect. Now turning into the corner, don't trail brake too much here, because the moment you arrive here at this compression, you have a lot of grip. So the grip levels into this corner are changing. Initially you have more grip, like right now. Whenever you're doing this initial part, there's a lot of grip, but then when you go more and more and you turn more into the corner, the grip levels are fading, like right now, because before going into the compression, the grip levels will fade away just a bit. Now you have more grip around here, so because you have more grip, you can be more aggressive with the throttle, like this, putting it very aggressively. But then when you get out of the compression right now, you have less grip, and notice that I stopped the throttle application, like I'm holding 79% because the rear was dancing a bit. So your inputs should reflect this change in mechanical grip. If you have a bit less grip, you have to modulate more the throttle. If you have a bit less grip, you have to be a bit more softer with the brake and turning at the same time. But if you have a lot of grip, you have to be aggressive. So knowing where the grip levels are, the mechanical grip levels are, it's gonna be a big advantage around here. Same for the next corner, because I overheated the tires with that correction with the steering wheel, because I had to correct the rears. Now this corner will be slower for me. No matter what I will do, I will be slower into this corner. This is exactly what happens. So because of that, because I knew I had a bit less grip, because of that small mistake, I'm not opening up as much as I can, because here this can be tricky. If you open up more, you also have to trail brake more. So I would, if I won't do a mistake in the previous corner, I will go a bit more towards the white line, not all the way, but a bit more, and I will brake a bit later than what I'm doing right now. As you can see, I'm braking at this point. You can brake at the beginning of the exit road, like right now. You will push a lot more weight on the front tires. The rear will start to be a bit oversteered. The car will be oversteered, the rears will start to dance. And you want to aim around the middle of this curve to put the left tire on it while smashing the throttle, so you arrive here. So So that's the ideal way of doing it. In my case, I had to use a bit less the track and brake a bit earlier, but that's gonna be the ideal approach. Now going into the chicane, you want to carry as much speed as you can here. So my reference for braking will be close to the 50. Here I brake a bit earlier, but at around this point I would normally brake just a bit closer to the 50. Brake in a straight line initially, you can even pick a bit harder on the brakes. And now when dropping the brakes, you want to get close to anti-curb. Immediately push the throttle, give it a blip of throttle. Now brake again while you turn, so you can use this white and orange curve. And now pushing the throttle again. So you can see it's brake, throttle, brake, but small, and again throttle. So this is the rhythm. If you find yourself not needing to put this throttle here, you might go a bit too hot into the corner, so you might want to try this approach and see in comparison which one works best. Now the final corner of the track, it's one of the most important because right now we have a huge straight, so you have to be early on throttle. What I'm using here as a reference for braking is a dip here that you can fill in the suspension. The track goes from a straight level, it goes down. And the moment that it goes a bit down, that's the moment that I'm applying the brakes, like right now. I don't want to brake very hard. I'm braking with 10%, and now I'm trailing those 10% into this part. I'm pushing the throttle very aggressively and even use a bit of the gravel here. If you just barely kiss it, it won't be an off track and you won't lose speed. So the most important thing to focus here is to have small percentage on the brake so you won't overslow the car. You need downforce to take this corner with a lot of speed, but also you don't want to have this interval between off throttle, on throttle too big, because if it's too big, then you will be later on throttle basically. We want to be, it almost has to feel like the brake is like a clap, and after the clap you're going back on throttle immediately. So it's something like clap, go. You see, that's how I think about it. And now you just want to keep the shorter line. And in short, that's a track guide around Zandvoort with the Super Formula lights. I hope you have a great week around here, and if you are interested in learning more and investing in yourself and getting to a new level in terms of racing technique, you can check out my sim racing course. It's in the video description. It has around 7 hours worth of content, and I think it's gonna be a good resource. But anyways, thanks for watching, thanks for sticking around, and looking forward to see you in the next video. Bye bye.